Okay.
Ding.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
No.
Okay. Have you heard of it before?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't really.
Nice.
Yes, I do.
I believe it's a recycled organic materials used to fertilize the soil for growth, plant growth.
Interesting.
Well, it's like the recycling of old food and giving back to the ground and nature.
Mulching up organic material to use to grow plants.
Recycling of organic materials. So then you put all the stuff you don't want that's organic in a big stinky pile in the backyard. And I usually see it down in a big box.
You take refuse that decomposes, and then you put it in a container and let it break down.
I feel like it's
fertilizers.
It's that room in the back where your bio teacher takes all the garbage and dumps it in, and yeah, no, that's about as much as I know.
It's like you put vegetables and grass and stuff in a composter and it makes soil.
And you put it in garbage.
Lots of poop helps.
You put a layer of vegetable waste from your kitchen and 6 inches of it, and then 1 inch of dirt and 1 inch of compost, and start over.
It's when you take all your leftover stuff, like your scraps, and you put it into a container and you let it ferment, and then it creates fertilizer, and then you take it and put it on the ground so you can grow more product.
It makes flowers grow?
No.
Oh yes, my mom does a lot.
My mom does.
In Canada, no, but in Brazil, I do. Usually, we reuse organic things in Brazil to make some lettuce and these things productions. But here in Canada, it's complicated.
No.
Back at home, yeah. Some people would probably say I compost just because I throw everything in my garbage bag and let it sit on the kitchen floor for like a week at least, and it smells kind of weird after that.
It'll just naturally degrade into the table.
Like everything's organic when you think about it.
Almost everything's organic.
Composting is the breaking down of complex organic matter into simple substances that the plants can use as nutrients. The microorganisms responsible for composting are predominantly a combination of bacteria and fungi. Crop residues, animal waste, food garbage, some municipal waste, and suitable industrial waste can be used as raw materials for composting. Composting gives back the minerals and nutrients to the top layer of soil that erosion and agriculture soil degradation takes away. Through doing this, we are allowing our plants to flourish, which in the end will cause an increase in both plant biomass and diversity. Erosion and agriculture soil degradation are caused by overcultivation, which leads to splash erosion, overgrazing, which causes erosion by removing and reducing plant biomass and plant diversity, and finally deforestation plays a huge role as the exposed soil rapidly loses the organic matter found in the topsoil. Some farmers are taking steps into improving their crop soils by practicing no-till agriculture to decrease splash erosion and are using pesticides and other chemicals to deal with weeds.
The purpose of microbes in composting is to break down the organic matter into carbon dioxide, water, heat, and humus. In controlled composting conditions, there are 3 stages: the moderate temperature phase, high temperature phase, and the cooling phase. In the moderate temperature phase, mesophilic microorganisms degrade the available compounds. The heat produced by the organisms cause an increase in compost temperatures. When the temperature passes 40 degrees Celsius, thermophilic microbes replace the mesophilic organisms. Aeration and mixing techniques are used to keep temperatures below 65 degrees Celsius, as this will denature the proteins. During the high temperature phase, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates are broken down. As the energy sources are depleted, the temperature decreases. When temperatures are low, the mesophilic microbes once again take over to run the maturation of the organic matter. Bacteria make up 80 to 90% of compost, with billions of microorganisms typically found in a gram of compost. Mesophilic bacteria such as Pseudomonas, Bacillus, Flavobacterium, and Clostridium do the first phase of composting. Thermophilic bacteria such as Bacillus and Thermus are active in the second step. Bacillus works well with composting because they can form endospores in stressful situations that are highly resistant to temperature, dehydration, and lack of food. Mesophilic bacteria also dominate the last phase. The longer the cooling phase, the more diverse bacteria can be supported. The bacteria responsible for breaking down cellulose, lignin, and chitin are actinomycetes. They have enzymes that allow them to break down tough cell walls. Actinomycetes form long, fibrous filaments that look like webs in the compost. These bacteria also give compost an earthy odor. Common actinomycetes involved in composting are streptomycetes. Fungi break down complex plant polymers in compost soil. They break down the tough debris so the bacteria can decompose. They alter organic residues that are too dry, acidic, or too nitrogen-poor for bacterial decomposition. Most of these fungi are saprophytes that rely on dead or dying material for energy. The fungi are found in all stages of composting, but live in the outer layer during the high temperature cycle. The fungi are aerobes that are seen as fuzzy colonies on the surface, or are hidden as filaments. Compost fungi include Alternaria, Cladosporium, Aspergillus, Mucor, Humicola, and Penicillia. There is also a small amount of protozoa and rotifers in the water droplets of compost. They are secondary consumers as they consume the bacteria and fungus. Aerobic bacteria are the major decomposers. They consume organic carbon as their energy source and nitrogen to allow them to build proteins. In home composting systems, a large compost pile can generate heat from bacteria consuming carbon in a matter of days. While bacteria can eat a wide variety of organic compounds, they have difficulty escaping unfavorable environments due to their size and lack of complexity. Changes in oxygen, moisture, temperature, and acidity can make bacteria die or become inactive. Aerobic bacteria need oxygen levels greater than 5%. They are the preferred organisms because they provide the most rapid and effective composting. They also excrete plant nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and magnesium. When oxygen levels fall below 5%, the aerobes die and decomposition slows by as much as 90%. Anaerobic microorganisms take over and in the process produce a lot of useless organic acids and amines, which are smelly, contain unavailable nitrogen, and in some cases are toxic to plants. In addition, anaerobes produce hydrogen sulfide, cadaverine, and putrescine.
Anyone can make their own compost bin in their backyards. Once you get it going, it is very easy to maintain and the rewards are very beneficial. The first thing you need to compost is a bin. You can buy them at home hardware stores such as Rona's or Lowe's for around $50 depending on the model, or you can build your own. The ideal size for backyard composting is about 1 meter cubed, as it is large enough to retain heat but small enough to be easily aerated. The next step is choosing a location for your bin. It should be placed in a sunny location and away from houses to allow room to drain. Now it's time to add the materials. But what should you add? Compost bins require a balance between brown carbon-based matter and green nitrogenous matter. You will need to layer the carbon and nitrogen material, about 2 to 3 parts brown per 1 part green. Brown material is organic matter that is carbon-based. This includes items such as dead non-diseased plants, branches, wood chips, bread, hay, paper materials, and cardboard. These provide dry carbon sources for the microbes, and the more finely shredded the better. Smaller particles help evenly aerate the pile and allow microbes access to a larger surface area of the particles. Green material consists of organic matter that is high in nitrogen. Waste foods such as fruits and vegetables, eggs, coffee grounds, tea bags and tea leaves, and herbivore manure are all good to use. Many compost piles suffer from excess nitrogenous matter. However, there are certain materials that you should avoid adding to your compost, such as meat, bones, dairy, human and pet waste, charcoal, and any plant material that has been treated with pesticides. These materials can introduce pests, cause odors, and contaminate your pile with toxins and disease. Now it's time to let the micro magic happen. Once the decomposing cycle has begun, don't add too much more material as that will disrupt the breakdown rates. Multiple compartments can be started at different times to have several stages of decomposition at once. All you need to do now is turn the pile once a week by cranking the handle or manually flipping it over using a pitchfork. This introduces oxygen into the pile, which is necessary to maintain microbial activity. Remember to keep the top covered with a layer of brown, as it is important to keep the nitrogenous material buried to deter pests, as well as keep the heat in. Optimal microbial growth occurs between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. Provided oxygen and water are in good balance, the bin should maintain suitable operating temperatures. Some things to keep in mind while composting is that your pile should be moist like a run-out sponge. Water is necessary for the microbes to function efficiently and helps with transportation of nutrients. Be careful you don't have too much moisture, as that creates anaerobic conditions and will generate an unpleasant odor. You can prevent this by always having lots of carbon. Your bin may steam and smell slightly over time, but not to worry, those are the signs of a healthy, functioning compost. Many people are worried about composting in the city due to the odor and attraction of pests. Pests can be avoided by proper layering of brown and green material and getting a bin that has a lid and a mesh bottom. Natural pest deterrents such as mint leaf extract or human hair can also be used in small quantities. Odor is another common problem that is generally due to excess oxygen or ammonia. The solutions are to turn more frequently and to allow a better distribution of oxygen amongst the pile, or to add more brown material to balance the excess nitrogen. Composting is all about balance within the microbe community, and adjusting the brown to green ratio will solve most problems. Composting is a slow process that can take weeks to be established. You can begin harvesting your compost when the pile has a dark, crumbly texture, an earthy smell, and all the food chunks are gone. The decomposing slows in the winter, but you can add fall leaves, keep the bin insulated, and add extra nitrogenous material to keep the process working at low temperatures. Once it has been harvested, what can you do with it? Compost can be used as mulch for trees or potting soil additive. It can be used in place of chemical fertilizers for gardening plants or as a conditioner for clay Saskatchewan soils. Compost is actually more nutrient-rich than peat moss. There are many useful resources to help you get started on your own pile. Library and municipal websites have great tips on where to begin. Many cities have community composts, and here at our own university we have sustainability clubs that are trying to get composting started on campus.
Humans positively impact the environment by composting. It helps the soil become more resistant to stresses such as drought, disease, and toxicity. It helps the crops in improved uptake of plants' nutrients, and possesses an active nutrient cycling capacity because of vigorous microbial activity. Composting also helps by reducing the amount of food waste that would normally end up in the landfill.